Hey, it's Shep. How many times have you ever gone to the store looking for a specific Pokemon card product and it's just not there because a scalper had already bought them all out in one fell swoop? Well, today I'm going to talk about how scalping affects the Pokemon ecosystem. Before I get into it, I want you to know that I do not support people who are scalpers. I just want to give you an objective, fair look at what the scalping actually does to the market. So you come home from the store, you start looking for that product online, and you're not seeing it anywhere on any major marketplace. So you head over to eBay. And that $50 product MSRP retail price is now $150 on eBay. What are you going to do? You feel frustrated, helpless, angry, mad at the eBay seller maybe, mad at scalpers that you see on Facebook and Instagram going around from store to store. We call them scalpers. We call them flippers. We call them retail arbitragers, messing up the whole Pokemon market, trying to make a quick buck. In the community, many people think they're parasites. Many people think they're pests. Many people believe they're greedy interlopers, putting themselves between the fans and the Pokémon Company. Are they just taking value out and not giving anything back? Your feelings are legit. It's so easy to hate the scalper. It feels morally correct. But I'm going to ask you something difficult. I'm going to ask you to suspend your moral judgment just for a few minutes. And let's take a look at the pure, objective market ecosystem of how scalpers operate. Are scalpers a villain? Or are they just a part of the market and a part of capitalism? How can you like capitalism but not be okay with scalping? It's just like a force of nature, gravity, or water finding its level. It's just something that's going to inevitably happen in a broken system. So let's take a look to see, are scalpers an important part of the Pokemon economy? Is it an inevitable part of the Pokemon economy? Is it something we can get rid of? Is it something that we can't control? Is it even possible that scalpers increase the value of our collections and our cards? And don't you find it interesting that we don't see very much that Pokemon is actually doing themselves to take control of the situation? Maybe they're even using the scalpers to gain valuable data. Let's take a look. First, let's talk about price discovery. This is a fancy word used by economists. To understand price discovery, we have to understand the illusion of MSRP. Manufacturer suggested retail price. MSRP is just really fiction. When Pokemon prints a box of cards, they have to guess what it's worth. Let's say $140. They look at the printing cost, they look at the shipping cost, they look at historic sales, and they just assign the number that they feel is the best guesstimate of what that is worth. But when that box leaves the warehouse, it goes into the real world. In the real world, value is not determined by printing costs. It's determined by the real world demand of the consumer. Let's say the set includes a rare holograph Charizard, and it's really worth, according to the economy, $300, but the box is only selling for $140. This creates a massive inefficiency. The price is low. The price is wrong. It's artificially low. In a perfectly efficient market, goods are sold at the price people are willing to pay. When a retailer sells an asset that's $300 for only $140, they're leaving money on the table. Let's take a look at an example I see at Costco and Sam's Club all the time. Is this just an example to give round numbers, but let's say you got a box of Prismatic. There's 10 packs in the box, and let's say it costs $50. That's $5 a pack. But on the open market, those packs are worth $10 a pack. There's a discrepancy there. If that box was $100, there is an argument that scalpers would not be interested, or at least as interested. Because in that case, you got to buy it at full retail price and then wait for the value to go up, and scalpers are looking to flip quick. Scalpers find the discrepancy and engage in what's called retail arbitrage, where you buy something from a retail store and sell it for more on a different marketplace. So you might say, scalpers are stealing money from the fans. But if you look at it in a bigger picture, If the scalpers are consistently selling things at double the price, for example, then it should be a loud red flag to the manufacturer to raise the prices. It tells the Pokémon Company, you've misjudged the value of this product. You can print more. You can raise the prices. It almost seems like Pokemon is flying blind and the scalpers are out there trying to figure out what the real value of their product is. And then Pokemon may be okay with that. And they come in and say, oh, we see we can charge more for these. We can print more prismatic. It's going to sell for a higher value. Ultimately, scalpers are the market's thermometer. The question is, do you think Pokemon wants to stop them? It seems like they're getting so much valuable data and information from scalpers that they're really not going to step in and do anything. And they want that market frenzy to happen so that their product seems more exciting to grab, more valuable to grab. It's all about perceived value. Because opening prismatic is mostly trash. The hit rates are terrible, but the value still stays high because of that perceived value, that market frenzy. When it hits the stores and you can't find it, everybody wants it. This is what the scalper's doing to the economy of Pokemon. So the next point is scarcity. So if everybody wants that Charizard box, how do you get it? Not everyone can have it. There's not enough. There is an allocation that's printed. System A is rationing the price. The person who's willing to pay the most price for that item gets it. System B is rationing by time. The person who's willing to wait the longest is the one who gets it. When we ban scalping or strictly enforce the limits at some of the retail stores, we are defaulting to System B, rationing by time. The person who's willing to wait the longest is the person who gets the item. Then we're saying the person who can afford the time to camp out at Target starting at 4 a.m. in the morning is the person who gets the product. And we're saying also that those are the people who deserve it the most. But is this actually fair? Think about the opportunity cost. For a teenager on summer break, the cost of waiting outside for 8 hours for the Pokemon box is low. But what about a single parent working 2 jobs and they want to get their kid some Pokemon? What about a doctor who has 60-hour weeks? They have the money, but not the time. What happens to somebody who lives 50 miles from the nearest GameStop? For those people, the time cost is just too high. In a retail-only world, they are effectively banned from the hobby, or at least getting these new releases. They simply cannot compete. What the scalper does is convert time into money. They perform the labor of waiting in line, or refreshing the website, or hunting down stock. And they sell that labor and they sell that time for profit as a service. When you're paying $300 for a box that costs $140 at retail, you're paying for the convenience. You're paying to not stand outside at Target at 4 a.m. in the morning until opening. Does this mean that it's efficient for the economy and fair for everybody? It does ensure that the item winds up in the hands of the person who values it most financially, rather than the person who has the most free time. It allows a busy person to remain in the hobby, and it keeps the system fluid. There's also a third factor, and it's one that people rarely discuss. It's called liquidity. For a collectible ecosystem to survive, in other words, for Pokemon cards to be more than just a child's toy, they have to be viewed as an asset. Why do people spend thousands of dollars or more on Pokemon cards? As my daughter tells me all the time, it's just cardboard. It's because they believe they hold value. And I personally believe that it's a better investment than the stock market. I have nothing in stocks and everything in Pokemon cards, for good or bad. People believe you can buy a Pokemon card today and sell it tomorrow for a profit. And that keeps the market going. Scalpers are the engine of that belief. By constantly buying and selling, they create liquidity in the market. If you buy a rare card, there's a market of people constantly trying to get that card, with an aggressive market of buyers and sellers constantly churning. When I look up comps for items in the Pokemon world, there's always a comp that we can go off of. That's a recent comp. If there were no comps, or comps were hard to find, it would devalue the cards and make it less stable, but the liquidity stabilizes the economy. You feel like when you buy an expensive card, you're not stuck with it. It's worth something you can sell later. And the hope of making money on it is also great, in addition to the wonderful art and the nostalgia of collecting. If all the resellers magically disappeared, liquidity would be in big trouble. The volume of sales would plummet, the value of cards would follow, and that would directly affect the retail prices in the store. When you see lots of Pokemon on the shelves, nobody buying, it really does affect your collection at home and the value of that collection. When Pokemon cards are hard to buy at the store, there's a perceived value, a liquidity issue to make it feel and seem like your cards are worth more and the prices will rise. And the Pokemon Company needs those people who buy lots of cards, put them in their closet, and wait for them to go up in value. The volume sustains the business model. Scalpers, by creating a commodity and a frenzy, add value to the market. They generate a hype and a FOMO, fear of missing out. It keeps the brand relevant for every new news cycle. So I don't like the scalper. I'm not asking you to like the scalper. It's frustrating to see an empty shelf. I want to go to the store and buy my daughter a few packs of cards. I can't find them. I have to pay double online. But the cold reality is that scalpers do play a large part in the ecosystem of Pokemon, and it may actually increase the value of the cards. Which side are you on? Do you want the value of cards to go up or them to be lower so it's more attainable by the masses? Is it a hobby for kids? Is it a collection for adults with low value? Or is it a true investment? Markets despise a vacuum. As long as there's a discrepancy between the desires of our heart and the price sticker on that Pokemon box, someone will bridge the gap. Do scalpers correct the marketplace? They offer a service to people who have money but no time. They keep the liquidity of the market going. As much as I hate to admit it, it's hard to deny the important place that scalpers have in the market. I couldn't bring myself to ever do scalping. It just doesn't seem fair for the kids. But on the other hand, I'm trying to make a living with Pokemon. So I'm really torn. I have to know what you're thinking about this topic. Please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you subscribe. It would mean a lot to me if you subscribe. I'll see you next time with something maybe more fun than this. Bye.